Hello there, my name's Robert Emery and I'm the founder and creative director of the Arts Academy. We run a fabulous music tuition agency here in London, and one of the questions I get often asked is, do we provide music lessons for adults? And of course the answer is yes. So we asked a few people to write in some questions for me to answer. So Peter from Kensington, he first said, what would you say to those who are looking for lessons and they had lessons as a child and sadly gave up, but they'd like to start again? Well, Peter, that's a very interesting thing, and do you know what? If I had £1 for everybody who came and said that to me, I'd be a very wealthy man, I tell you. I would honestly say, if you feel like you want to start lessons again, and you had lessons as a child, then start again. It's as simple as that. I know it's going to be difficult. Adults always learn a little bit slower, in all honesty. And also there's a little bit of a stigma sometimes about the old lessons you had as a child, and maybe you didn't have such a nice teacher, but forget about all of that. You're an adult, you're fully in control now. Find a great teacher who you can work with, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy lessons. Sarah from Chelsea also asked, do you think children can inspire adults to take lessons? And I think the answer is yes, absolutely. Children have this amazing sponge-like ability to just soak up anything around them. And quite frankly, they learn very well, particularly by sight. It's something which, sadly, as adults, we slowly start to lose. And most children are born with a photographic memory. And the older you get, the worse that gets. And eventually, by the time you're about 15 or so, that photographic memory has gone, which makes it a lot more difficult to actually learn music. The other problem slightly that adults have is retention. It's very often that you'll have a lesson one week, you'll go back the next week and hope you've remembered the things you've done the week earlier, but of course you don't. You forget it. But that's just one of these things about being an adult and learning a new skill that you have to put up with. David from Battersea said, does an adult person need to study musical theory? And that's quite a tricky one to answer honestly, because it depends what you want to get out of your music lessons. I'm probably going to take it that you don't want to become some world-famous concert pianist or pop star. And if you're just starting music lessons just to have a little bit for yourself, then having a little bit of theory is good. It's a very good thing. The biggest problem with adults learning is they always ask why. Why is it called a C major chord? Why is that note 4 counts long? And sometimes as a teacher you just have to say, just because it is. It's as simple as that. It's not worth knowing why, not at this stage. And that's actually the hardest thing to get over as an adult, is that you're not going to have all of the answers straight away. So as long as you can be a bit patient, and if your teacher turns around and says to you, there is no reason for you to know yet why this is called a hemi-demi-semiquaver, then absolutely fine, you're going to be great. ALISDAIR from Hampton asked, if I'm starting lessons afresh as an adult, what instrument do you recommend? Now, that's an easy one for me to say, and I would always say piano. And there's one reason. Yes, I'm a pianist, so I'm slightly biased. However, the piano is the only instrument where you can see all of the notes in front of you laid out in a sequence, in a very simple to look at sequence. It doesn't matter whether you're playing violin or guitar or trumpet. Everything else has hand positions, and it depends on your embouchure and all sorts of things. So I would always say, if in doubt, stick with the piano. It's probably the easiest instrument to pick up as an adult. Tony from Chiswick said, why do you think children stop taking lessons? Now, actually I could do a whole video on this in its entirety, but it's quite a tricky one to answer in all honesty, because there's many reasons. But a few of the reasons I can think of. Number one, the child wants to change instrument, but the parent doesn't want them to. That's quite a popular thing. And sometimes parents, they kind of dig their heels in a little bit, and they change the instrument, and they get a bit bored, a bit fed up, a bit frustrated, and they decide it's not for them. Number two is the wrong musical environment. This is quite an obvious thing, which parents, quite frankly, seem to ignore. It's really important that they have a good musical environment for them to learn in. Not stuck up in an attic somewhere where nobody else can hear. Learning music should be about doing this with your family, and if you can make your piano or your keyboard or your guitar or your violin, if you can put it in the environment which everybody is around, I know it means you're going to have to listen to 30 minutes a day of violin lessons, but trust me, it's worth it as a child. The third one is the honeymoon period ends. This is quite a popular one. We all love doing things to start with, and then after a couple of months it gets a bit boring and children lose enthusiasm quickly. Actually, the error there is with the teacher. If that happens, it's the teacher's job to enthuse the child and keep them burning, keep them going strong, and if they're not doing that, then I suggest you change teachers pretty quick. The fourth one is an inappropriate practice schedule. I've known parents who insist that their son or their daughter plays for an hour a day, even though they've only just started learning the instrument, and quite frankly, 4 minutes a day would be more than adequate. So I think finding a really good practice schedule is a really important thing. Number 5, practice can be seen as a chore. Well, it shouldn't be. There's absolutely no reason why you can't reward your child for practicing. There's no reason why you can't play games whilst you're practicing, listen to music, doing all sorts of creative things, and then having a little bit of a reward at the end of it. And finally, number 6, pressure. I think a lot of children feel very pressured in today's society with examinations and the amount of different activities they have at school. So if you can help your child to see music and learning music as an enjoyable, fun thing and not pressurized, I think you'll find it's enormously helpful. So the last question today is actually from Claire in Notting Hill. And she says, what are the benefits of learning a musical instrument for an adult? Well, again, a whole video's worth here, but first of all, did you know that playing a musical instrument can make you smarter? See, a study led by a Dr. Inez Jensit from St Andrews University actually tested cognitive ability of musicians against non-musicians and found that learning an instrument slows and prevents mental decline associated with aging. So, that's a very important thing to understand. Did you also know that some of the most powerful people and successful people in the world have learned a musical instrument to a really high standard? Condoleezza Rice in America, she was a concert pianist. The hedge fund billionaire Bruce Kovner, he was a pianist who took classes at the Juilliard School. The co-founder of Microsoft, the billionaire Paul Allen, he was a guitarist. Woody Allen was a clarinetist, as was Steven Spielberg. The Prime Minister, Sir Edward Heath, he was a conductor. Anthony Hopkins, the actor, he's a composer, and even Albert Einstein trained as a pianist and a violinist. So all the best people in the world for these things know that learning a musical instrument is a really great thing to do to get your mind working. Also, helps you relieve stress. I know a lot of adults who want to learn music, and their 1 hour a week they treat as their stress relief. They can switch off their phones, switch off their emails, sit down at the piano, stand up at the violin, and the world goes away. And it's quite an amazing thing to do. The sense of achievement, of course, can also be quite phenomenal. And hey, let's not forget, playing a musical instrument can be great fun. So I hope a few of these things have helped you and persuaded you that learning an instrument as an adult can be a great, rewarding thing to do, as long as you've got a little bit of time to put into it and energy. If you'd like more information, please do contact me or any of the staff at the Arts Academy here, www.arts-academy.co.uk. Hopefully, I'll see you soon learning that musical instrument.
Fun learning music. It's what it's all about.